United States forces, they boarded and seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker in Atlantic Ocean, which was allegedly involved in transporting of Iranian oil. And in context of using shadow fleet to transporting Russian oil, is EU going to use this American-style approach to prevent transporting of Russian oil? Of course, the legal basis is different and the condition is different, but what do you think about this approach? And the second question, yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham, he said that Trump green-lighted a new bill, a new sanction bill against Russia, which impose additional measures on country which buy Russian oil. Do you have some position on this bill? Thank you.
Thank you. Vitaly, you have mentioned several elements, but let's focus on the key element, and this is the Russian shadow fleet, where we share a common goal to sanction it and to also ensure that we curtail all those trying to circumvent our sanctions. We have listed sanctions in our 19th sanction package, but also before we have listed several of the shadow fleets. So if I'm looking to the numbers, we have now sanctioned over 597 vessels, and also I'm referring to the last FAC from December, where we have listed 41 more vessels, and the agreement of the EU foreign affairs ministers has been also to have these vessels listed on a rolling basis. So the idea is to send a very strong message to Russia and to ensure that we are acting on stopping Russia from financing its war of aggression against Ukraine.
Other questions on this matter? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I think the question is valid, and you didn't really answer it. If the EU is also going to take measures to actually stop these vessels, because sanctions are nice, but when it comes to enforcement, it clearly doesn't work. And if I remember correctly, this topic of the shadow fleet was front and center at the last EU summit. There are countries like France who would like to have a more proactive approach. So my question is quite simple: why is the EU not doing what the Americans just demonstrated in actually in the nearest neighborhood of the European Union?
We can speak about the EU, and we're always looking into what the EU is doing, and we're doing a lot. So when it comes to Russia, when it comes to sanctioning, when it comes to the first part of your question, this is obviously for the member states to board any of or inspect any of the sanctioned vessels. Maybe the one also for Vitaly. As such, because you have mentioned the bill, will not be commenting on the US bills, but as a general line, the more sanctions for Russia, the better.
And let me remind you that indeed we continue to work with our member states on the implementation of sanctions. It is their responsibility to implement them fully. The shadow fleet is something we have been very, very active on all our sanction packages. We know that it's a constant effort in updating our measures. They are constantly circumvented. It's in the nature of sanctions that the other part tries to circumvent, and then it's for us to take action to prevent these circumventions, and it's something that we have been doing with each and every sanction package. It's something we continue to actively look into, and also let me remind you that we have a special envoy for sanctions that works with our international partners. Of course, I'm referring to David O'Sullivan, to try to make sure that our sanctions are respected also internationally, and there Olaf can eventually provide further details. Oh, sorry, not Olaf anymore. It's Siobhan now. I need to get used to it if of interest. You have a follow-up. Go ahead. And I'm not sure if Vitaly had a follow-up. No, you answered already.
So if you are saying that it's in the responsibility of the member states if they want to board the vessels, Does that mean that the legal basis makes it possible to actually board the vessels?
It's not what I said. I said that the sanctions implementation is a competence of member states and that we, of course, proactively work with them constantly to make sure that all our sanctions are implemented in an effective manner with them. Anita, anything to? No? Okay. Other questions for Anita on foreign affairs? Yes, go ahead.
Satya from NHK, the Japanese TV station. Can I just follow up on my colleague's question? Do you think this way of boarding and seizing a ship in the international waters is abiding by the international law?
It's not for us to say and judge actions of other international partners in this sense. Other questions for Anita? Momchil from remote.
Hello, my question is about the Russian shadow fleet also. So I just would ask for clarification. Do the member state must, or the member state can board the vessels?
Again, it's for the member state to decide on the boarding or inspection in accordance with their own domestic legal framework.
You have a follow-up. You were running away, but changed your mind.
Yes, my question is quite simple. Does the sanctions regime, as a basis, as a legal basis, allow member states to board and intercept vessels of the shadow fleet? Yes or no?
I'll have to look specifically into this and come back to you.
And of course, on top of sanction regime, we have other laws such as maritime right, etc., that need to be abided by. We're not in a position to comment now specifically which actions would or would not be in line. Of course, member states also have national legislation to respect. It's an assessment they make. What is important is that the necessary actions are taken to ensure that the sanctions measures are fully implemented in an effective manner to prevent from providing further oil to Russia's war machine. This is ultimately the goal of our sanctions. This is why the Commission also cooperates with the member states to be effective in them. Now we're not in a position to provide you with a detailed analysis on what could or could not be in line with different member states' law. Anita will check if there's any specific reference in the legislation adopted so far, but also we would be entering into a speculation area on which we normally try not to enter. Therefore, I'm not sure that we would have much more to add. This is the last follow-up I give you because I think it's the fourth question already.
Yes, thank you. It's important still. Don't you think with this legalistic reasoning and yes or no, we are in cooperation, there's clearly a problem when it comes to enforcement of the sanctions, when it comes to this shadow fleet. And the Americans just demonstrated just outside of the European Union's borders how to approach this. Don't you fear that you're losing any credibility when it comes to enforcement of the sanctions against the shadow fleet?
The legalistic approach comes from your legalistic question, which was about the legal basis. We replied to the types of questions you ask us. If I consider sanctions to be ineffective, absolutely not. And there's evidence that shows that Russia is paying a high toll for all the sanctions packages that we have implemented. It's international data provided. You can see it yourself. And the efforts that Russia is putting forward to circumvent our sanctions actually just shows how our sanctions are biting into their economy. Is it a perfect system? Absolutely not. As I was saying, we constantly need to update our measures to make sure that the sanctions are as effective as possible and that circumvention is prevented. Shadow fleet is a core area in which we have been focusing our efforts. Now, I wouldn't remember out of the top of my head which sanction packages exactly include references to shadow fleet, but it is several, and with each and every one of them we have tightened our measures, and we will continue to do so. This is work that has been ongoing also in the European Council of December, and it is efforts that our member states are pursuing constantly together with us. Anita.
If I may also add, with the reference of our own shadow fleet coordinator that has been also announced last year with competencies on facilitating also contacts among the member states with a view to also identify opportunities for further intervention, also gather best practices. And again, back to your very legalistic question, hence our legalistic answer and approach. As such, it always depends where the ship is it territorial waters or not, but as such, on the 19th sanction package, we do not have this reference on the boarding, so this is again for the member states.